Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another show. Quite a nice picture you saw on the screen there for a few seconds, wasn't it? Things are changing. Things are getting a little bit sleeker over here at TGT. Gone with the sort of crazy thumbnails and busy thumbnails, it's probably fair to say. Taking some advice from some of you looking at the thumbnails and some of the intros and stuff, and things are going to get a little bit sleeker, a little bit more simplistic. And hopefully stand out a little bit more. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know if you've got any feedback regarding the thumbnail for the video, and of course, what will soon become more of an intro video on top of that. I'm not going to use the old one for now because I want to try and transition into the new one when it's finished. So that's exciting stuff. What isn't as exciting is unfortunately some news that's breaking today with Arsenal's transfers. It's irritating because, of course, we've been reporting on this for months now. The amount of videos we've done on Thomas Partey has been huge. It's been so many. We've talked to Graham Hunter, we talked to Kieran Quayle. I'm going to have a chat on Friday. This isn't a members exclusive. This is for everyone. With Romano from TalkSport and from the Totally Football Show, who you may know, and he's a lot in the know about Spanish stuff, so it's going to be a really good interview tomorrow. More about Thomas Partey and kind of the situation that's been going on with Atletico and Arsenal and how that conversation has been flowing. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for that. I should say that's not Romano Fabrizio. I know a lot of people are going to turn around and be like, "Oh my God, Fabrizio Romano is coming on." No, it's not him. It's someone else. But in terms of what we're doing with this Partey deal, I will defer to Romano and see what he's been saying over on the Twitter. And supposedly this is what it says. Thomas is staying. That it's said that it's not going to happen. It's not happening. Basically, it doesn't look like Arsenal are going to be able to get this one over the line. So if that means you need to go over onto your social media and tweet a certain ITK that was adamant that this deal would happen. I thought there was always a chance. I think that it's silly to think that this deal wouldn't happen in relation to sort of the interest from Arsenal. But at no time did I ever go, this deal's going to happen. This is happening. Partey is definitely coming, because I've always said that you have to caveat that with Arsenal need to sell. Now, what is important, and Mero1142 says there's still a chance. And I think it's something to say that this doesn't mean that 100% Partey isn't coming, because he has a release clause. So you can never, ever really say he will definitely not be joining Arsenal in the next 72 hours or so, because he has a release clause. And if Arsenal suddenly turn around and activate that release clause, then Atletico have no control over that. And if Partey wants to come, which is very much the feeling that we get that he does, then it could still happen. But at this stage, it is looking incredibly unlikely that Thomas Partey will be joining Arsenal this summer. However, what is the sort of flip side to this is, of course, the Aouar side of things. Now, tomorrow is the deadline that Jean-Michel Aulas, the Lyon president, has set for Arsenal, or any clubs, in fact, to take their players away, to bid enough money that they would be willing to sell their players, because beyond Friday, they are going to be rejecting whatever, because they want to get their team sorted for the weekend and playing the games that they need to play, which is completely fair enough. But the thing is that you get the feeling this deal eventually is going to get done. That's the feeling I certainly get. The issue is that I just don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it is going to require Arsenal to move on some players. It's going to be very, very interesting. As soon as we see the lineup for tonight's game, hence the shirt being worn, match day shirt is on. There'll be a show straight after the Liverpool match, don't you worry. That it's going to be interesting to see if, one, Kolasinac is in the team, two, if Socrates is in the team, and three, if Reiss Nelson is in the team. Because those three, the ones that, of course, are fit and now integrated into full training, of those three, and Lucas Torreira, but I don't expect him to be in the squad because I'm pretty sure he's in Madrid right now. But of those three, Socrates, Kolasinac, and Nelson, they are players that could realistically be leaving in the next couple of days. Reiss Nelson, I was going to say Reiss Relson. Reiss Nelson, that's going to be one of the new players' names, isn't it? Along with Mainsley. Reiss Relson. So Relson is going to be possibly leaving on loan There's lots of clubs in the Premier League, the likes of Southampton, Burnley, for instance, are interested. West Ham, Crystal Palace have registered interest as well. Not so much West Ham. You can disregard that one. But Crystal Palace, Southampton, Burnley, and I believe there's one more as well that's just gone off the top of my head, that have registered interest of taking him on loan. As I said, and I reported here on Wednesday, I believe it was, that he was not happy about not being in the squad for the league game against Liverpool. He was not happy at all. And it'd be interesting to see if he's going to be in the team tonight, if he is in the squad. Be interesting to see if some people have already said whether he's travelled with the squad today. But yeah, he's one that could effectively go. In terms of other players that could still leave, of course, Socrates was originally linked with Napoli. There are whispers that there is a Premier League club that are looking at Socrates. That's all I'm going to say at this moment in time. But yeah, apparently there is interest in him. If he does go, it's not going to be for much. You're looking around 3 million euros, possibly £1 million. I mean, that amount of money. But the thing is with Socrates is that it gets 90 grand a week off the wage bill for a player that really isn't going to get too many minutes in the first Premier League team this season. It's just not going to happen. And then the other player is Kolasinac. Now, what's interesting about Kolasinac is that it was strongly reported throughout social media, you probably saw, including our good friend Romano, that Kolasinac had agreed a deal with Bayer Leverkusen for around 10 to 12 million euros. Now, if Kolasinac is in the squads tonight, that kind of, to me, throws up some warning signs. There's all the hope in the world that he could still go and we could still make some money off it. Even if he is in the squad, Arsenal may have turned around and just said, we need to rest Tierney for the weekend. Do you mind if we play Kolasinac in this game? And then the next day he could fly out to Germany and go complete that deal. But at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting tonight who is going to be in the team. Fulham, by the way, the guys you're throwing up, Fulham, that's not the Premier League team that I've heard. So that's interesting. If that's the case, if you've seen that somewhere on social media, that's not the Premier League team I was talking about. So that's an interesting one. In terms of Torreira is obviously the other big news. Torreira looks like he could still be going to Atletico Madrid, whether or not Arsenal do get Thomas Partey. So Atletico have really done a number over on Arsenal in this situation. And also, I've seen some really concerning things about it actually is a loan deal with an option, not an obligation to buy at the end of the season, which for Arsenal, and in my opinion, with Torreira on such low wages and Arsenal in such short supply of quality centre midfielders, especially in kind of a deeper position, to let him go out on loan and not bring anyone in a deeper midfield, centre midfield position. I'm not talking about Aouar, who I know can play deeper, but is mainly thought of as more of a forward-thinking centre midfielder. But if you speak to players, if you speak to experts that have seen him in France, he can play deeper in the midfield. But Arsenal really still lack that deeper midfielder support. El Nenny's return, which is great, and he's looked all right, but Arsenal, to compete for the top four, need to improve in that position. So if Torreira goes and we don't get Partey, I would hope that Arsenal have got a plan B of significant quality, possibly a Samara, but I've seen links of him going to Napoli. That Arsenal need something. They need something to come in that deep position, especially if Torreira is not being made if it's not an obligatory purchase. Obviously, if the option to buy is a good fee, I mean, Arsenal should be turning around and saying if it's an option to buy, that fee is going to be higher than an obligation to buy. And they should be going nowhere under, in my opinion, 30 million euros for an option to buy in that sense. So it's going to be really, really interesting. And I agree with you guys in the chat box that are saying Samara is not on Partey's level. I 100% agree with you. But in my opinion, I've been very split on this. If Arsenal don't get Partey, in my mind, I was thinking, don't go out and spend money on a plan B. But I just think that this season is such a big chance to qualify for top four that, in reflection, with Solskjaer and Mourinho and Lampard kind of having their struggles at their clubs that are competing for that role, Leicester have dropped points but then look really impressive in the game against Manchester City. I just feel that when you look at what could be done this year, Arsenal need to do something special in these last couple of days. We always knew that it could come down to the wire. A lot of movement can still happen. There's a lot of outgoings that could still happen. There's incomings that could still happen. There was rumours about 3 days ago that 3 players could possibly be coming into the Arsenal. But with the time ticking away, with the 5th of October deadline really coming quick down the corner, Arsenal are going to need to do something big. I'm kind of expecting to see Aouar come through. I really am, because I just feel that when you look at the clubs that are also going for him, Juventus is one. There's an unnamed club as well that is a short-term admirer of him. Those clubs, Juventus especially, can't really offer the money that Lyon want in the short term. Juventus aren't a club that go out and spend that kind of money on that midfield position. They're just not really known for doing that. They spend it on some of the big players like Ronaldo, for instance, and Higuain. But when it comes to those midfield positions, you see with likes of Rabiot, with Ramsey, with Emre Can, they get these players as cheaply as possible, and it's not within their remit to kind of do that. So I don't see any threat really from Juventus at this late stage. I think that Arsenal are certainly going to be the club that are in the driving seat with this deal, and I kind of expect that deal to happen. But it's an unnamed club that's involved. I don't know who that is. But that's going to be intriguing. Thank you, James S., for signing up as a member. Massively appreciate the support. You can get access now to some exclusive content and, of course, the use of our emojis in our chat box members, showing what he's missing out on, or rather not missing out on now. But you can also get access in the community tab. If you go onto our YouTube homepage and you log on to there, you'll see a chat with the GFFN, Get French Football News, chief features writer Adam White, talking all about Aouar and Gabriel and Saliba. So make sure you've gone and checked that video out. We had a nice super chat from Chris P. Thank you ever so much, mate. Nice Relson and Mainsley to start tonight with Woe Gillick and Neddy Ketia. I mean, this isn't becoming a thing, okay? This is not becoming a thing. Why everyone's going for Nice Relson? This is not becoming a thing. Mainsley is enough. I'm not having this backwards. No, this is going to stick, isn't it? I'm just going to get absolutely battered now for getting this name the wrong way around. Unbelievable stuff. Actually, tonight, we're not signing Thomas Partey, and we possibly could be getting Alsem Hawar. I don't know who we're signing now, but absolutely brilliant stuff in the chat. You guys absolutely cracked me up. Maybe Sakayo Baka, says Boomaguna. Fantastic stuff. And of course, Saka did get his England call up, which is fantastic news for him, along with Mainsley. Fantastic to see those two in the England national side. I mean, that was really good news. In personal terms, so bad news for me today. Anyone see who Dominic Szoboszlai and Red Bull Salzburg got in their Champions League group? Because it's not pretty reading. It's just not pretty reading. It's not a thing, Chris. This isn't becoming a thing. Oh, for goodness sake. Everyone's just jumping on this. Bradley Costello says, Edu has done nothing this year, only gave his Brazilian pals a job. We are going to suffer this year. We won't even buy anyone next summer either. Even with Ozil, Mustafi, Socrates, Kolasinac, and even. Bradley, mate, you need to chill, bro. You need to chill out, mate. You're going to burst a vein or something, or an artery. I don't think veins can burst. I don't know. Some biologist can come and tell me. But I just think that when you're looking at what he's done this summer, you've got Aubameyang to sign a new contract, and this is Edu and Arteta together in doing this, and Raul Sanllehi for part of it, of course. We can't not say that. Aubameyang to sign a new deal was the most important bit of business that Arsenal have done this window. Gabriel was a top-class young centre-back that we needed to sign. We've done that. Willian was a good signing. I'm not having any words against that. It was a good signing. A good signing. And I'll stand by that till the day I die, unless he's rubbish for the rest of the season. Then I might turn my mind on that. But in my opinion, I think that's a good signing. Getting in a replacement for Martinez, who was sold for an excellent fee. 17 to 18 million pounds, rising to 20, is an excellent fee for a goalkeeper that we thought was worth about a tenth of that fee a year ago. That is good business, in my opinion. And to get in the replacement for a very small amount of money, so hopefully we can see the money reinvested in an Aouar, is good business. I don't think that Edu, as of yet, has done a bad job. If we don't get Aouar, was going on throughout the summer, and if we weren't able and being proactive enough to sell players so that we can then reinvest quick enough, but I wouldn't say that Edu has done a bad job whatsoever. So that's just my opinion on that. Carter Stay says, just bad Wenger vibes from this transfer window. Just hold fire. If we can get some deals done in the last few days, things can change very quickly. This whole world of football is very, very fast moving. And in these last few days, it moves faster than you ever can imagine. The messages that get sent around, the stories, the articles that get written, the media hype and the euphoria around the last few days is crazy. Thankfully, my shift is only 2 hours long on Monday, which is blissful because it means I just have to do a couple of panicky articles for 101 on Monday, and then can sit back and relax and enjoy the transfer window going into meltdown on the last day. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I just for the moment, just chill. Just chill. It's going to be okay. I have a feeling things are going to be okay, that we will get our big main target. Whether you thought that was Partey or Aouar is down to you, but I think for Arteta, his main target has been Aouar. Arteta is in love with Aouar. He loved him when he saw him at Manchester City, and he's followed him ever since. And I'm talking years back, not just I'm talking about that game the Man City lost to him last season, because obviously he wasn't even there for that. But they've played them before, and he's been really an admirer of the Frenchman ever since that point. And he wants to get this deal done. Arsenal want to get this deal done. And I feel like they will get this deal done. If they don't get it done, I'll be straight on here tomorrow going, what the hell are we doing if we don't get it done? But I'm positive about this deal. I think it's going to get done. I really hope it is. Yannick Max says, Tom, you're on the clock for these claims. I am, mate. I am now. I'm not claiming anything. I'm very careful about what I say and what I don't say about stuff. But it's funny how quickly when you go into sort of this stuff, how quickly you start hearing things. I can completely see the attraction of a lot of accounts to suddenly start tweeting, this is happening, to get all that hype. But I'm very, very careful. I'm very, very careful about what we talk about. Oh, Owen, why? It's not funny, mate. I'm not having this anymore. I'm not having this. This is not becoming a thing. As soon as we come out of this game tonight, and I come onto the Raw Reaction show straight after the game against Liverpool, you lot are going to be throwing so much abuse my way. Glenn Cook says, so reactionary and toxic. Majority of our fan base are 12-year-olds. Exactly. Oh, no. Bulgarian Good is jumping on Owen now. David Blashik, I'm sure if I pronounced your name wrong, mate, says Diawara instead of Partey. Possibly. I think that was something. I mean, we had a good chat with Rich Hall from Football Italia a few weeks back talking about Diawara. It's a possibility. He's certainly someone that Arsenal have looked at, but it's not someone they've put in for whatsoever. James Ben's just confirmed that Kolasinac is in the squad for tonight's game. So that's some really interesting news. Make sure you go give he's not old. Go give James a follow on Twitter because he's a really good follow. But I think that news about Kolasinac is interesting. How much that impacts his move to Bayer Leverkusen, I'm not sure. There's certainly been some sort of communication between the clubs and some sort of deal has been talked about. Maybe it's a fact he plays this last game for Arsenal because Arsenal need the numbers for tonight in the League Cup game. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Carl Halberg says, it's hard to stay calm because we hear different things every day, but we can only judge the club's business at the end of the window. And that's all we can do, is we can be hopeful that deals get done. We can be positive we get deals done. But if it doesn't happen, then we'll come to the end of the window and we'll have a sit down and a chat. And of course, I'll get the boys on the podcast and we'll have a long discussion and chat about what this actually is and what the consequences, the ramifications of Arsenal do not end up signing anyone, which I still see as unlikely. But I just think that you have to sometimes sit down and go, yeah, that this hasn't been good enough. But we have to wait and see. We have to give them time until that final whistle goes on the transfer window. I am going to remain as positive as possible that the stuff can still get done. 100%. Sipiso says Mark Rocker. Now, Mark Rocker is an interesting one because he was pretty much nearly confirmed to be going to Atletico Madrid. Now, some really weird information came out that Sheffield United, in fact, and Burnley have been looking at getting Mark Rocker in for around £15 million, which is not a lot of money. And if Torreira is going to go to Atleti, they no longer need to buy Mark Rocker. They, of course, have to sell Hector Herrera, but I don't think that they're going to be going for Mark Rocker if they get in Torreira this season. So he is an option. He's a good player and he's available and he's cheap. And he's certainly someone that I think Arsenal could look at as a cheap alternative to Partey to cover them in the short term. He's also still young. He's very, very good. His display in passing is good. His positioning is good. The way he kind of sort of analyzes the game when he's playing and his positional awareness is good. He's a good player. And we've done a tactical breakdown on him as well. If you want to search up Mark Rocker tactical breakdown onto YouTube, it will come up and you can watch myself and Kieran Quayle talking about who is the editor-in-chief for Get Spanish Football News. So if you want to get some more information on Rocker, make sure you check out that video. But he's certainly someone that I would say that if we can't get Partey in for probably the main reason being finances, Rocker is certainly an alternative for that, 100%. Franz Ferdinand, wow, nice to have you in the chat, mate, says there must be a few decent defensive mids out there, cheaper than Partey. Doesn't have to be a big name, but also not a potential signing like Samara. If Edu and co can't find one, then they're useless as well. Bulgarian Gunner says, I wouldn't say no to Douglas Luiz at this point. Wow. I mean, at the start of it last season, he was pretty poor, it's fair to say. Thank you, Chris, again for the super chat. Owen raised a good question. How would you rate the window if Aouar is the only remaining signing? P.S. Nelson Nice is most definitely a big. No, he's not. It's not happening. Not happening. I prefer Relson anyway, to be honest. I think Relson sounds better than Nice. I think that's a better one. When we're thinking about how we would rate this window, if it was just Aouar, I think you'd go 7.5. I think anything lower than that is probably hyperbolic, to be honest. If you think about the fact that we've got Willian in, who's a starter, Gabriel is a future, could be a really, really good signing. Ceballos on loan, which we haven't talked about, is also important for another season. He could have stayed in Madrid. He didn't. We kept him. And to get Aouar, who is rated as highly as being a future best midfielder in Europe, I think is a really good window still. I don't think it's a perfect window by any stretch of the imagination, because we desperately needed a Thomas Partey-esque signing to really put us in the conversation solidly for the top four. And if that doesn't happen, then you have to ask questions about what. And of course, there is always the COVID situation being it's an impact. It does impact things. It's impacted a lot of things for a lot of clubs. And I think that's certainly something that you need to think about. So yeah, that's going to wrap up today's show. But it isn't the last show of the day, because of course Arsenal play Liverpool tonight in the Carabao Cup 4th round in a replay of what was an entertaining fixture on Monday for the Scouse lot. But in terms of us, it was pretty painful. But it's also a replay of the League Cup from last season, in which we witnessed an absolutely storming game in which we lost 5-5, and then after that on penalties that we went out to the current league champions. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Make sure you have your watches set for the Gooner Talk straight afterwards, because we'll be doing our real reaction show again. I'm hoping that you're enjoying the kind of new slick branding that we're going to be seeing on the channel. There are new intro videos coming very, very soon, I hope. And there's going to be more stuff to do with the channel. And I'm loving the fact I've kept it in theme with the kits. I've really tried to do that. So it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, as it always is. I will see you straight after the game this evening here on the channel. So make sure you've hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed today's video. Maybe not enjoyed, learning some rather negative news, but if you'd appreciated the news and the content that's coming out and the hard work that goes into it, I'd really appreciate it if you drop a like on the video. And hit that notification button so you get told when we go live. If YouTube actually wants to do me a solid, I'd much appreciate it. I will see you straight after the Liverpool game. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, as it always is. And as always, up the Arsenal.